Right, y'all, here we go. It's been Derby and Oaks trials week this week at Chester and, more importantly, Lingfield on Saturday. Now, while Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore have been setting records up on the Rudy at Chester, you got to remember that the Ballydoyle yard was set up many, many years ago by Vincent O'Brien to train his string for the Derby. Yeah, he built in like the up and the downs of Epsom Downs, but more importantly, the camber and that replica of Tattenham Corner that really sorts out the winners and the also-rans for the Derby. It's the most prestigious classic, of course. And Aidan O'Brien makes sure that even as juveniles, they're all on that specific training track. Gord, I'm beginning to go on like I'm on the podcast with Barney, but cut to the quick, it's because we all think the Lingfield trials are the best to replicate what you are going to find at Epsom in 3 weeks' time. So let's get on with it for Saturday. So we're looking in at Ascot on Saturday, as well as being at Lingfield, while over in Ireland, Caroline has the trials day at Naas to report on. We'll get to her later, but to kick things off, let's look at the Oaks trial at Lingfield. There's plenty to like about the way Romantic Symphony did it at Kempton Park last month, getting into gear from the 2 furlong pole and winning going away. She's a big, classic-looking Derby filly, and I do reckon she'll be hard to beat here. Though that said, she'll be needing to transfer that all-weather form on Kempton's flat track to Lingfield's Oops and Downs and Cambers on the course, like I was talking about earlier. Anyway, Aidan O'Brien's fillies, Cameo and Bloom, should have had some exposure to such stuff after running at the Curragh and Navan, so it is race on. Yeah, hard to get away from Romantic Symphony, who's one to keep on your list this season, starting here. Up at Ascot, top weight Zagata could prove difficult to beat in the fillies handicap, so I'm expecting Oisin Murphy to do the business for me. She was 7th in the Sandringham here at the Royal Do last summer, but that was less than 4 lengths behind Ed Walker's Never Let Go, so wasn't far off in a field of 25, and I'm sure Andrew Balding has her ready to go on her seasonal reappearance. Martin Meads Politely has clocked up a couple of wins this year on the all-weather, so if taking to turf looks on a generous mark, but the one I do feel is going to be right in the mix is Sean Wood's Song and Dance, with Danny Tudhope up top. These are my 3, but Zgata has to be the one to beat under the champion jockey. Right then, my Saturday nap is going to be Isaac Newton here in the Derby trial at Lingfield. Got to be controversial here, I will tell you, and say Aidan O'Brien's Isaac Newton is beating hot favourite Maho Bay. I do get it that Maho Bay was really impressive in a novice stakes at Newmarket, but that's Charlie Appleby's hunting ground, so down at Lingfield, I'll take Aidan O'Brien's Camelot Colt to come out on top. You can bet your bottom dollar that Isaac Newton has been worked on that special course that Vincent O'Brien built to train his Derby hopes on at the Ballydoyle yard, while Tom Marquand gets the leg up on Maltese Cross, who is probably a bigger danger than Maho Bay, for me, on this track. Jane Chapel-Hyam's Balzac is a big price, but has a bit of Epsom experience under his belt. But after one run at Newmarket this term, I reckon the apple has dropped for Isaac Newton, so he's the one. Now, although it's much later in the day, I just want to bring Caroline in for her Saturday next best, just for your heads up. Caroline?
Why, thank you, Jaysella, and well done on giving true love for the 1,000 guineas last Sunday. So, as you say, it's the Derby and Oaks trials this week, and the one I want to tell you about is the fillies trial at Naas. Of course, Aidan O'Brien has an outstanding record in this, winning 6 of the last 10, but I'm telling Yuz that Eritrea can win it for Donica O'Brien to keep this prize in the family, but not to add to the Masters record. This Camelot filly looked far more than ordinary when winning at Leopardstown over 10 furlongs the last day, in what I thought was a competitive maiden, and she wouldn't have to improve much to take this listed contest. Ice Dancer is probably the first string of Aidan O'Brien's pair, but would need to be stepping up from her run in the Group 3 Salsabil, where I was so pleased to see my pick, Thundering On, take the honours, and I hope you all were on it too. Joseph O'Brien's Mixed Feelings won well at Leopardstown and would be the one to watch. But I do think Eritrea is winning this. And I know you are back with some earlier races from Ascot, so back to you.
Thanks, Caroline. So yes, let's cover the Victoria Cup at Ascot. Well, if Oisin Murphy can't take the fillies handicap on Zgata, then next up is the feature, the Victoria Cup, where Mudbeer is the one to follow. Out of John and Thady Gosden's in-form Clarehaven Stables yard, Mudbeer goes well fresh, and is a group horse running in a handicap here. Also, I would say that Hamad Al-Jahani's defence minister has to be one to keep an eye on, with this pair both handicapped to score at this level, and then further up the weights. Harry Charlton's Completely Random will be given his usual hold-up ride before making a late bid, so is my each-way angle. Mudbeer to show his class and land this before stepping up to some black type later this term. And now, back to you, Caroline, for a maiden at Naas.
Thanks, Jaysella. And yes, I really did like the way that Confucius looked on his racecourse debut, and I'm finding him easy to back for this maiden. In the end, he only went down by a nose at the Curragh the last day, so with a bit more luck in running can go in under Wayne Lorden, who must be on a high after his 1,000 guineas win on True Love last week. Robson Aguirre's May Mass Colt, Bullshark, I think, can come on for his 2 runs, and sometime soon we'll see him score, but may just need further, while Jer Lyons's Sioux Nation Colt Selwyn will be very interesting on debut, but does come from a wide draw, which asks a question. Yes, it's got to be Confucius to win this, with Bullshark likely to go close.
Thanks, Caroline. So to finish things up a bit on Saturday, it has to be Royal Velvet for the Chartwell, and I do have William Buick booked for the ride. It could be that she's got a bit to find with Andrew Balding's Copacabana Sands, who's been getting a bit of support in the markets this week, but it's her first time out this season, and that can make the difference, as Royal Velvet has already rocked up at Newmarket last month. She can only strip fitter for that, can't she? So I'm finding this an easy enough decision in maybe not the strongest lineup for a Group 3. Royal Velvet to go in for the in-form yard of William Knight, with Copacabana Sands to chase her home.